Today on Duality Gamecast, we review Gravwell. Will you be attracted to it or repulsed by it? Let's find out.
Welcome to Duality Gamecast, game reviews by people who love to play games.
You have survived passing through a black hole into the ninth dimension. Now you must harvest elements to power your engines and escape the Gravwell. At the beginning of each round, players mine fuel. Mining is handled by drafting the three types of cards. After mining, each player chooses a card from hand and reveals them simultaneously. In alphabetical order, players resolve their fuel cards. Green fuel moves you towards the closest ship. Purple fuel moves you away from the closest ship. And cyan fuel moves all their ships towards you. And if you play a fuel card you do not want to use in the round, you may use your emergency stop. Play continues this way until all 6 fuel cards are played from the hand and a new round begins. The game ends after the 6th round, or one player has escaped the ninth dimension.
Gravwell is a game for 2 to 4 players from Renegade. This game was a winner of a Mensa Select Award. William, talk to us about how this plays.
Complexly simple, I think, is the best way to say it. Both of those things. Because of the basic gameplay of just you all revealing a card, stuff can happen. Things can move around the board before it gets to your turn based on the letter that you picked. It's possible for you to kind of have fun with this game and not overthink it and still participate and still be involved and still try to win but not have to next game it type of a thing. But at the same time, there is that next level where you're going, okay, so I have an M. That's probably going to go off before this. But I kind of pay attention to what Matt drafted, and I know he got a bunch of reverse cards. I should go with this one. You can really brain burn on this and really take a lot of time deciding, and that matters. But at the same time, someone can come in more lighthearted and they can still participate. Yeah. And part of this game is not just about winning yourself, but also figuring out how to mess up other players. I mean, there's a lot of times where you're like, well, I'm going to take 2 steps back this turn because I know that then that's going to mess this guy up. He's going to take like 8 steps back on his turn. It's going to be hilarious, and it's going to help me out really beyond just the fun of making other people lose. Dylan, what do you think?
Well, it's kind of like a Interstellar Candyland, because you're just moving spaces.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, would we make this game really cool if there was certain cards and there was like a line going through that can make you go past that line and then go onto these sections right here or something like that? Like
wormholes?
Wormholes, yeah. And when we're talking about gameplay, it is really simple, like you said. And when it comes to Candyland, you're just moving spaces. Since there's, what, three card types, you said?
Mm-hmm.
And
forward, backwards, and pull everybody towards you.
Yeah, it's just really simple. What do you think?
The basic how to play is really simple. But when you look at strategizing and figuring this game out, it's kind of a program movement game a little bit.
Yep.
It has a little card drafting.
Mm-hmm.
Every round starts with a draft. Your position at the start of each round determines your draft position. You can try to hate draft a little bit. Yeah, a little bit. You do have to think of how you're going to use those 3 different types of cards a lot. You got to take into account the position of the other players, and if you really want to think it out, and this is, I think, why it probably won a Mensa Select Award, is you're doing some card counting, and you're trying to project what your opponent's best play is based on where they're at, where you're at, where everyone else is, and what, if you were paying attention, hopefully you saw them draft. So you could, like you said, get super crunchy and thinky, or you could cruise on through and just kind of react to what's happening. Either way works. It's really to explain the rules of this game is super simple.
Yeah.
Super simple. You kind of decide, which is neat, how much effort you want to put into this game, which I think is really cool. It does have a 6-round cap, so whoever's closest to the warp gate at the end of that 6th round, if no one gets to the warp gate, wins, which I don't know if I want to call this a flaw of the game, but if they hadn't built that cap into it, I think it's possible this game could really drag on in some instances.
Yeah.
Because there is sort of that checks and balances. People could be pulling you back or moving when you didn't think they were going to, which forces you to get pushed back. So there's a potential for you doing the 1 step forward, 2 steps back thing quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Which is interesting too, because when you get down to like turn into round 5, then you can kind of plan your next turn not to get to the warp gate, just to try to get as far up as possible. So a lot of flexibility, easy entry level, I would say.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the art and component quality.
Something that happened to me a little bit is there's a small amount of color confusion in this game. You have a yellow, a blue, a red, and a black ship, which is the 4-player colors. And each of them have their own emergency stop card, which corresponds with their color. But then the actual cards themselves are yellow, blue, and a purpley red color.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a couple times where, like, just in my mind, I play a yellow card. I want to move the yellow ship just because yellow and yellow. Or I play the blue card, which matches almost exactly the color tone of the blue emergency stop card. Makes me want to move the blue ship. So that little aspect of it, I know, causes me confusion every time because I'll just, when I'm thinking and I'm counting spaces, I'm thinking from the wrong colored ship. Then I move the right one. It can cause a little problems. But you can get past that issue, which is one that I have all the time, so it's really more of a me thing. I think component-wise, it's pretty good. It's a deck of cards, basically 6 ship pawns, and then a little pawn for the marker thing, and a board. Mm-hmm. All nice quality. The ships, the only distinction is color between them, but they're cool looking. I like it.
I like the color palette a lot. We've talked about this. It's really clean. There is a little bit of a color confusion potential. It's not super colorblind friendly, I guess. There's nothing on the pawn certainly to help you out with that.
The cards do have icons on them that show what they do. So
yeah, they do. Yeah, and the iconography is really simple. The board's really clean. It even has a little bar at the bottom that kind of tells you,
which letter does what.
Letter M is yellow and that sort of thing. I love that there is an element name on each of the cards you play, and the theme in the game behind that is just you're harvesting or mining those gases to fuel your ship to get the heck out of the singularity. I think that's really cool. Yeah, how do you feel about the components?
Well, first of all, this is not yellow. That's green. Don't you think that's green? Look up on Google Images Gravwell card, and if that is not, that's green. That's not yellow.
It's yellow.
It's going to be invisible because we're using a green screen right now. So
it's yellow green.
And also, there's not really a color confusion. I think that the reason they have a lot of random colors is kind of how space is. It has that supernova dust thing going on. Like there's just weird.
Yeah, it's like a nebula.
Yeah, and the colors are awesome looking. They're beautiful. It just, my brain is simple.
Yeah.
And
well, that's just how space works.
Yeah, space is complex. I understand. Yeah. I understand.
For an essentially abstract game, they did build some nice artwork and components and thematically appropriate components into it. There's still not a whole lot of theme.
No, it's very light.
It is still you moving on a board, spaces on a board, so the theme's not heavy. But they did put some effort into that.
Extra thing we thought about is that when this game's over, you can actually start a game with Zaya. Because there's a warp gate, so technically you can come out the broken one and then just do stuff in Zaya.
We did talk about this, starting a game with Zaya by leaving the singularity through the warp gate to start. But that's a whole nother show.
Alright, so Gravwell. I'm going to give this game a love it. I thought this is really cool. The only thing that does not make it a must-buy is its simplicity and staying power. This game does not have staying power. You'll play this probably 10, 20 times over time, like in between bigger games, and after that, you'll just want to sell it. It just does not have staying power like other games. It's also a little too simple because it's just moving tiles that doesn't really match with space. But I think out of the game design of this will just be a ton of fun. So I'm gonna give this a love it.
All right, I'm going to give this one 11. I'm just going to come right out. It's a great game. It's timeless. I feel like you can play this game forever, any number of times. That's right, Dylan. And overall, it's just a great game that I think has tons of replayability and a lot of depth that maybe you don't see at first.
First of all, let me just say, if you buy a game and you play it 10 to 20 times, that was a good game. This game is a good game. I'm going to call it a love it. It's a very good blend of abstract game and I think gateway game because it's easy to teach. Lifetime to master, easy to teach. Love it. Gravwell is a theme light game with another game with low theme that you really enjoy. Tell us in the comments below. Thank you to all these people for helping out and click on me to subscribe.
Riddler.